Good morning. Mike from the Fulcrum. Out doing my morning thing. I think it's important when you have major changes in your life, such as retirement, illness, bereavement, divorce, that you re-examine your life and try and find a new path that works for you. The problem being the old path, the old ways no longer work or apply in a lot of these cases. For me, morning routine is important, especially since I retired. Man needs a reason to get up in the morning. Those reasons could be varied. For example, I have to get up in the morning anyway because I've got an old dog that insists on going out for a pee about 5:30 in the morning. so, which isn't a bad thing in the spring, summer, and early fall, but in the middle of winter it's not pleasant. I have to stand there, open the door, let the cold draft blow in. But this time of year I like it because it quite often, especially when we get into the period of the season when we have early sunrise, you get up when the sun rises, watch it come up, get that natural light. It's been studies that show that that light going through your retina is very important in the functioning of your brain, and that you get it. There's a certain type of blue level of light that's very important. So there is that. In my own case, I have a regular set routine. I get up, throw the kettle on, I make my coffee or tea, whatever I'm going to do, get ready to put it in my thermos, and then hop on my bike. Generally, I try and change up the route so I don't get bored. Like this morning, I'm back in one of my favorite little spots in the marsh. I get down in the marsh, and I do my Qigong exercises right here in the reeds. Take off my shoes, stand on my bare feet, mud between my toes. Just like when you were 4 or 5 and jumping in puddles. Feels good for a reason, that connection to the earth. And after I get my Qigong routine done, I hop on this thing or my road bike, depending on where I'm going. Go for a bit of a muddy ride. Wakes me up. Checks my balance, because one thing you get on a mountain bike back through the mud and up hills and rocks and things, it tests your balance daily, which is something that deteriorates when you get older, particularly if you don't exercise and use it. A lot of people sit down when they're about 40 on the couch and never really get back up, and a lot of their motor skills start to degrade very, very quickly. The human body is an amazing thing. Even they've done studies with people even in their 80s and 90s that they started on a lightweight routine that have regained mobility, being able to throw away their walkers and canes and get back at it again. So it's important that you work on your balance. A lot of Oriental exercises too, like Qigong and Tai Chi, also work on that because it uses all the muscles in your body that would affect balance, going through all the different poses. Yoga as well. A lot of these exercises also stress acupressure points with the muscles, so it actually reactivates all the rebuilding of your system. I also hit the gym about 3 days a week. I usually try and leave a day or so rest period between workouts. It's also important to set a goal for your workout. Like for example, at my advanced age, I'm working on doing a full planche, which is basically doing a push-up with your legs elevated. It's amazing to watch. A lot of circus performers work these moves, but you have to exercise certain muscles to do this that affect your balance and strengthen your core and your shoulder and back. So that's my goal right now, that in 6 months that I can actually pull off some of these gymnastic routines that appear impossible. Not for any vanity, just it's like a daily reminder of where your physicality is at. I forgot to mention, I also do what's called Wim Hof breathing and cold water immersion. This Wim Hof is quite a character. I'll post a link in the description about this fellow. He's famous for, well, it's actually called the Iceman. He can sit in an ice bath for extended periods of time, hold his breath for an amazing period of time as well by using a deep breathing routine. Some of these breathing routines the technique has been around for thousands of years, and most cultures have a version of it. But in his, they've done all kinds of testing that indicate that this type of breathing reactivates primitive parts of our brain that bring about healing, and also seem to reset our system. I usually do that first thing in the morning when I'm waiting for the kettle to boil before I make the tea. It takes about 15-20 minutes depending on how long you've been doing it. There's different levels of it. Most people start out where they do the deep breathing routine, which involves 30-35 deep breaths in and out. And then you breathe right out and hold your breath from anywhere from 45 seconds to about 2 minutes. You do anywhere between 3 or 5 runs of this. You get to the point eventually, like some of us, myself for example, I can do 3-minute breath hold now. When I first started, I could do maybe 1 minute 15 seconds or so. So it also tends to slow down your heart rate as well because you're exercising your whole system. So now with a lot of those routines out of the way, I can enjoy another thing I like doing. Getting on this bike and getting everything all over muddy. I'll have to get home and fire up the hose and clean it all off and lubricate the machine. Maintenance is important for the things you own as well as your own life. I like to look at these old bikes as something that can be maintained simply by every time you take them out. You make sure when you come back you clean them up, you lubricate all the points that require lubrication. Keep air in the tires, regular maintenance, make sure there's oil in the bearings, that everything functions. Same way I look at my body, sort of like an old sports car. Still capable of great speeds, but you have to make sure that everything's warmed up before you go at it and you have proper fuel. Another thing I do is what's called intermittent fasting, which basically means you restrict your eating period. For example, I don't normally eat breakfast, maybe 1 day a week. The rest of the time my first meal is around noon, 12:30, and I'll eat dinner. So basically 2 meals a day. The main idea of this is that your body, when it's digesting food, uses an enormous amount of energy that your body could be using to repair itself. So the studies that they have done show that there's quite a bit of improvement in the way your body repairs itself when it's not under stress of all the food in your stomach. Not only that, if you do your exercise routines before you eat, your metabolism is sped up, which means you're going to use that fuel more effectively and burn off a lot more fat than what you would if you ate the full 3 meals a day. So that pretty much wraps it up. I'm going to go and, like I say, go for a tear around, get all over muddy, try not to fall down. And when I get home, rinse the bike off, clean everything up, and then have my first meal of the day. So as always, breathe deep, think clearly, get out and enjoy that day. This is Mike from the Fulcrum. And as usual, like and subscribe. Tell all your friends.